Hey friends, Randy Flickinger here again with another story I really feel led to share with you, and something that I hope affects your heart and your mind and your understanding a little bit. You ever have questions for God as to why He allows this to happen, that to happen? Why doesn't He make this happen for me? Those type of questions. I've often threatened to write a book called Questions for God, and it would try to cover a bunch of those things. But I think I'm going to try to do that here in a relatively short video. When I grew up as a young man, my parents went to the Mennonite church, a General Conference Mennonite church, and I got a Bible as part of my confirmation classes when I was a sophomore in high school. And in that Bible, you had the New Testament, you had the Old Testament, and then in the middle, you had a section that most people have never heard of or read, and it was called the Apocrypha. And what it was a collection of books that were written that were at one time a part of the Bible, but were thrown out pretty early on in man's timing here. So different people, different ways it reads, either the Catholic Church or somewhere in there way back 1000 AD type stuff, a long time ago. Because, at least my belief is because some of what was in there was offensive or more than likely hard to understand. Didn't make sense, may freak people out because of what they can see around them now. So it got cut out. But it's sad because there's some really great reading and lessons in there. And one of them is a story in what they called Second Esdras, Esdras. You can look it up on your computer. You can find this stuff. And the prophet Ezra, and he's lamenting the state of his people. He's saying that the Hebrews have hauled them off into exile. He's beating his head against all of the inhumanity in the world. He hates it. He doesn't understand it. He's perplexed at how people can be so cruel to one another. Gosh, do we see any of that today? And why they have to suffer so much. He is questioning God, right? Why God? Why is there so much suffering in the world? Why are my people, your people, suffering? Why are you forcing them into exile? Or you and I would say not exile, but forcing us into surroundings that we get hurt, whether it be a workplace, whether it be relationships, whether it be financial setbacks, whether it be health issues. Why? Why do you allow this? Why does this happen? You know what? I'm sure you and I have those same questions. Just like Ezra, he was questioning God. And so God sent an angel to speak to him. That angel's name is Uriel, Uriel. And Uriel says to Ezra, you know what? I'll answer your questions. But first, you have to tell me three things. Number one, how much does fire weigh? How much does fire weigh? Now, you and I can see what fire does. We can see the damage. We can see how it starts. But it would actually have a weight. What does it weigh? Number two, where does wind come from? Not the direction it's blowing, not the mile an hour that it's blowing. Where does it come from? Where does it originate? And you can say, well, a storm, but that's not where it originates. That's something that moves it along and maybe increases it. And the third thing he wanted to know was why are my people, your people, suffering? As Christians, we all have some of those questions. And yet, when he asked those questions of Ezra, Ezra said what? I don't know. I can't answer those questions myself, and I'm going to guarantee you, if you're honest, you can't either. It doesn't make any sense. And that was the whole point that God was sending Uriel to make. You're not going to understand my wisdom, my ways of doing things. I'll give you the little snippets of understanding, in certain areas. And he's done that to me numerous times. That's where a lot of these stories come from. It's what I hear, what he tells me, and it helps me understand more of what's going on. But the bottom line is, I still don't understand why he doesn't make our path easier, why we can't have the success that I see a lot of evil people have, right? I mean, if I'm honest, but he loves them. He wants them to come join us and him. So, it's a tough question. Bottom line is, it's not for us to understand. I was watching The Chosen last night, and if you haven't been watching that series, you're crazy. You're missing out on one of the best series I've ever seen. It makes the Bible come to life, and it portrays Jesus and his disciples as humans. Jesus being God in human form, sinless, all that, but it makes it so real, and they portray him wonderfully. Okay? And one of the questions, one of his disciples, Peter, is questioning why. Same stuff Ezra's asking, same stuff that millions upon millions of people have asked through the years. And Jesus says, bottom line is, we complicate things when we try to understand. We make it hard. Faith becomes hard when we try to understand. In other words, trust him and lean not on your what? Own understanding. That's tremendous. You and I make things difficult for ourselves, for our faith, and frankly for those around us, because we influence them in a manner that makes them also question God, question our faith. Why would you believe in a God that allows this baby to die of cancer, that allows this mother of 7 at 39 to die of cancer? All those type of things. We complicate all of it by simply trying to understand. Don't try to understand. I know it's human nature, but just like Ezra, you're beating your head against the wall. Trust him. Know that he has a plan that he tells you is for your good, not to harm you. He has the understanding of what you and I need and what will help shape us and mold us into the people he wants us to be. And he knows what trials and successes and failures that we can have to help influence others for him. Guys, just trust him. Don't try to understand. Save this, repost it, share it. Air conditioner kicks in. Bottom line is, I hope this gives you some hope, some understanding that for us to try to understand is a waste of time. He will let you understand what he needs you to understand. The rest of it is called faith. Trust him, let go, and you're going to be a lot happier in your faith. Thanks for listening, guys. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.